My introduction to Queen came through two movies, and both were in the same year, 1986. The first was a movie called Iron Eagle, about a fighter jet that crashes and has to escape, and it's a bit Top Gun-ish, but it's the same kind of era. And the second was The Highlander. Both of these movies share something in common with Queen. They have a track taken from the same album, It's a Kind of Magic. Now, It's a Kind of Magic was basically the soundtrack to The Highlander.
There can be only one.
But the opening track was called One Vision. That was taken from Iron Eagle. I'm sure you all know One Vision. Now, the Highlander had different styles of music, from It's a Kind of Magic all the way through to the track that I'm going to focus on right now, which is called Gimme the Prize. You might wonder why I'm focusing on Gimme the Prize out of all of Queen's back catalogue. But I was into shred guitar when I started playing at 12 years old. This album had probably been out for about a year by then, and I heard Gimme the Prize, and the intro to that was just Brian May shredding. I'm going to play a little bit of the intro now. I'm not sure how much I'll play because of copyright issues, but then I'm going to jump into the ToneMaster Pro and show you how I've set up a preset to kind of emulate this sound, and also why I'm not using the Fender preset that is set up for a Brian May tone. So here's the intro. So I think you can hear just from those first few notes why I enjoyed this. It goes into a tapping section that goes all the way up the fretboard and then ends with this sort of high run with a bit of delay. I'll just play you a little bit of the end part of that. All right, we'll jump into Pro Control. I can show you how I've set up this sound. I'm just using my EVH Wolfgang Special for this. I don't have a Brian May Red Special guitar. I don't have anything really like it. Don't think anyone does. So unless you've got that particular guitar, probably never going to sound exactly the same anyway. He also uses a sixpence for a pick and always has, and that's very, very bizarre. So that will make a difference. You hear a lot more noise on the strings because it's a coin. I'm just using a regular Tortex pick. So I've set up a preset and I've got two scenes, solo and bagpipes. I'll get onto that in a second. But first I want to show you the Fender preset for Brian May. This is already set up called Royal T, and it sounds like this. Has a few foot switches set up, as you can see. Obviously, a phaser is a big part of Brian May's sound, so if you turn that on. So you could use this instead. It's got a couple of Vox AC30 combos set up, which obviously Brian May uses AC30s. Both have a different sound, and I think possibly different, same mic setup, and then a large room reverb. He also used the treble booster that this Ranger Boost is based on. I haven't used that in mine. Now, this is a great preset, but it's got like low cut set to 20, high cut to 20 kilohertz, that kind of thing. So it needs a little bit of tweaking. I'm not sure about this mic placement. I mean, if you're using two cabs, why not put the mics in a different place? I don't know. So maybe you could just alter this a little bit and it's going to be perfect for what you need. But I'll show you what I've done in my preset. So I've gone with the AC30, exactly the same. Like, why not? Because that's what Brian May has always used. I've got two mics set up. So I've got a Ribbon R121. You can see the low and high cuts here. And then I've got SM57 a little bit closer on the cap edge, and that also has the same low and high cuts. This one's off axis though. I've got the blend set to 55%, by the way. The first pedal in the chain is a simple gate. I've got that set to low by default, and when I go to the solo, it actually goes to mid. You can still hear a bit of noise in the background coming from phaser. I don't really like going too high with a noise gate. Cuts out a little bit of the tone, so I'm going to leave it like that. That's fine. Next in the chain is the vocal wah. I have that set up to my expression pedal, and I've also added a foot switch to turn that on and off. Then I have the Poly Voice, which is one of the new pedals that was introduced recently. I'll show you why I've got that in there later. Then I have the phaser. Brian May uses a phaser a lot, and I really like the Boss style phaser, so I've used that. Instead of the treble booster or the Ranger booster, I've used a Mythic Drive 2, and I just adjust this per scene. It's just flat out everything for the solo. And for the bass, it's just set like that. Then I've got an EQ7. I was trying to just sort of alter the sound a little bit to make it sound like the pickups that Brian May uses. It was just an idea that I had to do, like kind of a notch filter thing. But yeah, it sounds all right, so I'll leave that on. Then I've got the micro shifter. Now, this is set up so that it adds a little bit of pitch detune, 9 cents left and right, to add a bit of stereo width. So I've actually set this up as a stereo preset. If you use headphones, you'll hear it's actually really wide sound, so it sounds pretty cool. This helps a lot with that. And then it goes into a large room reverb. And finally into a digital delay, which is used as part of the intro solo. So the bass sound. I think that's a pretty good rhythm sound, but obviously the main thing here is about the solo, the intro solo, and the later on the solo that uses a wah as well. So the intro solo, that kicks in the phaser, it ups the gain, and it gives you this sound. That's my best attempt at playing that intro. I'm not Brian May, but it's very much off the cuff. You can hear he's sort of moving up the neck a little bit chaotically, but it just sounds so cool. I'm pretty happy with that intro solo sound, so I want to move on to the next bit, which is a bit of fun. I'll play a few seconds now of the bagpipe section. It's obviously not bagpipes. It's Brian May trying to emulate the sound of bagpipes, which I think he does a really good job of. So I thought, why not try and include this as well as a little bit of fun? So this is that section. You can hear he's done a good job of this. He's got the drone sound underneath, and then he's got the main guitar and an octave above. So I've used a poly voice. I have a sub octave, minus octave, an octave above, plus octave, and then voice 3 is off. So it's just doing the 3. The only problem with this is that you can't mix the sub and plus octave individually. So voice 1, 2, and 3 don't have levels, which is a bit of a shame actually, but you can swap that out if you want for the other pedal, which is the Polygon Octave Shifter. So if you use this one, you can actually do levels. But this one has a little bit of a different sound to me. This is how I'd set up the Pog style pedal. And the Polygon Octave Shifter I'd set up like this. I think that sounds pretty good. Up to you really, you can swap it out for the Pog if you prefer. And finally the solo. Now have a listen to this, I'm pretty sure that he's using a wah. So what I've done is I've added the wah as a foot switch. So by the way, the digital delay I've got as a separate foot switch because when I was doing the intro part, I switch it on just for the end part. And then I have the vocal wah set up because I thought Brian May would probably have used a Vox wah, which I think this is based on, if I remember rightly. I have the expression pedal assigned. I've done a little bit of tweaking with the heel and toe settings here. And then I've got switchless bypass off. I usually use that, but in this case, I actually wanted it as an effect that you kick in. I probably wouldn't, if I was using this live, I'd probably add a solo 2 scene that activates the vocal wah or set it to switchless bypass because I don't have a toe switch on my expression pedal. So solo with the wah. I still feel like it's got too much treble with the wah, so I'm going to have a bit of a tweak right now. So I will reduce the toe. Let's put it right down and see what happens. Still sounds too trebly. I'm going to actually switch this out for a custom wah and see what happens. So let's first of all assign the expression pedal to my wah, and it's going to be the position. I'm going to set the heel to at least 15, so it's not all the way. Actually, no, I'm going to set it to 10. And then the toe, let's bring it right down to about 60%. I think that I'm going to have to modify, I think I'm going to have to reduce the Q, the range. That actually sounds really good. I think I accidentally nailed that first time. Right, let's save that. Again, best effort, did what I could. But that's it, that's my JGG Brian May preset. I'm going to put that up in the cloud, which I haven't done for a while. So I'll call it JGG Brian May. Give me the prize Queen inspired preset. It is, I'm going to call it Classic Rock. I think it's old enough now to be called Classic Rock. Let's put the prize, give me the prize Queen. And I will post that. So now if we go into my uploads, there we go, JGG Brian May. So I hope you enjoy this preset. I hope it's useful for other Queen songs as well. I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of gain on this, and Brian doesn't use as much gain, but I'm not as good a player as him, so I need some to cover up my mistakes. So you could back the gain off a little bit, and also depends on your guitar. So these are probably higher output pickups than, say, my Les Paul. It would sound a lot different on that, but I wouldn't attempt to play any of that on my Les Paul. Not a 50s style anyway. So yeah, experiment, change the boost amounts, and see what you can come up with. Someone did request Fat Bottom Girls live version. I'm not sure if this will be helpful for that, at least using the bass sound. Maybe with that micro shifter it helps sort of fatten it up, because I know that was the thing with the live sound. It sounded a bit more sort of beefy than on the record. So I don't know, maybe that will be something useful to you. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.